a while.
Good morning, Nevada, and all our neighboring states. I'm Peter Lycopoulos, and this is the December 22nd, 2012 edition of Rural Nevada Today. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope your season's going well for you and all of your loved ones. Please, and over the next couple of days, take your children or grandchildren, whatever the case may be, talk to them about why we celebrate Christmas. Let them know that it's the birthday of Jesus. And then explain how important Jesus was and explain why he came, what he did. Now remember, this is a magical time of the year and things are possible. Anything is possible. So take the time to enjoy this season. Now there's much to distract us right now, even much to make us angry. So you have to stay the course. You really do. And you want to talk about a magical time? We got an update on that Marine that we were talking about. I did have a chance to talk to our congressional delegation again yesterday. And guess what? By 5 o'clock, they were announcing that he was being freed. So John Hammer's coming home. You got to thank Fox News. Bill O'Reilly really got on that case and got it going. So like I say, it's a magical time of the year when anything's possible. Now, in the Orthodox Christianity, we pray for faith, courage, and wisdom and honesty. We also pray that God takes away from us fear, anxiety, and distress. And it's our faith in God that pulls us through these times. Once again, enjoy this Christmas. Not only keep your faith, but show it. Don't be embarrassed to show your faith. If you're looking for a way to pull yourself through, practice what your faith is. Now, the freaks in the media would have you think that we of faith are in a minority. They even put out a poll by NBC asking, do you believe the word God should stay in the American culture? Unbelievable. Let me ask you that again. Do you believe the word God should stay in the American culture? You have to ask yourself, why does the left always put God to the test? There is no word God in the American culture. God is the American culture. This morning, we're going to cover the poll results, and we've got one that comes from Red and Sally. This is one comes from them, so we're going to cover this right after the 6:30 news breaks. Now, don't forget, if you haven't gotten your Christmas tree yet, you just might want to stop out at Seasonal Adventures. They've got 5 convenient locations: Warm Springs and Rainbow, on Flamingo, on Eastern and Henderson, in Green Valley, and also on Centennial. Now, they carry Douglas, Nobles, Fraser Firs. They also have Reefs, and they won't be undersold. So you want to. This is my last chance to talk about them. I got my tree from them. Pretty great place to go. Now, I'd like to take a moment to extend a heartfelt, tongue-in-cheek condolences to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Now, the Secretary apparently was listening to the show last week and heard my request for her to get off her rather large and growing posterior and do something about John Hammer. Well, I'll tell you what, Hillary jumped right to it. She rushed with such force that it caused blood to rush to her brain, causing her to faint, which caused her to have a concussion because she fell on her little pointy head. It was unbelievable. Unfortunately, this prevented Hillary from testifying before Congress on Benghazi. Sadly, listeners, Hillary's concussion has become infected. This is the first known concussion-induced infection in the history of mankind. This infection is a very serious one. It is called Benghazi scoliosis. Sadly, there is no known cure for Benghazi scoliosis. However, many people infected with Benghazi scoliosis do live a normal life. Some are even able to run for president in 2016. Sadly, though, Benghazi scoliosis affects that part of the brain that contains all of your memory, not only on things related to Benghazi, but also the memory on all things that relate to the Middle East. Sadly, this condition is permanent and will in all likelihood prevent Hillary from ever appearing before Congress. She just doesn't remember a thing. Had Nixon been this devious, they'd have never impeached him. I'll tell you, this administration, their temerity knows no depths. Like I said earlier, John Hammer is being freed. He should be home by now. I did have a chance to call our congressional delegation, Uncle Harry. You gotta love Uncle Harry. This lady she was priceless. She let me know that, hey, you know what? If the congressional delegation out of Florida wants Uncle Harry's help, they can ask Uncle Harry. Do you believe that? I tried to impress on her the fact that John Hammer was a United States Marine, not a Florida Marine, not a Nevada Marine, a United States Marine. And Uncle Harry, well, he's a United States Senator. That made little difference. Now, I've been a huge fan of Dean Hellers, but, over this past thing, he's become one of my biggest disappointments. Now, the young man who I spoke with still had no idea who John Hammer was. This was as of Thursday. He didn't know. Now, when I spoke to this man, he was very arrogant, and he actually was offended by my call. At the end of the conversation, I was speaking to this young man at the top of my lungs. Now, if you want to call Dean Heller, his number is 388-6605. Joe Heck's office, same as last week. They knew about John Hammer. They were working on the John Hammer issue. What that work entailed, nobody seemed to know, but at least they know who John Hammer was. Now, if you want to call Joe Heck, 387-4941. Called Mark Amede's office. As usual, folks in Mark Amede's office, very polite. The Veterans Affairs guy hadn't got back to me yet, as he promised, but he ended up calling me last night, and he said he was going to look into the issue. He was going to get back to me next week after Christmas, but the issue's already over. But at least they had somebody call me. They actually called me back. Now, if you want to call Mark Amede's office, number again is 775-686-5760. While you're talking to him, you just might want to express your feelings on this financial cliff. We also are going to cover a lesson. I tried to get to this last week, and we just didn't have the time, but we have a lesson on capitalism. Now, here's the strange source. I'll tell you what. It comes from Pravda. You're going to want to listen to this. This is from an ex-communist newspaper predicting what was going to happen in the United States. And this was written in April of 2012. You're not going to believe the predictions, and you're not going to believe the warning they gave to Russian businessmen. Now, NFL fans, tonight, now there's not going to be any Monday Night Football, probably, it's Christmas Eve Monday, but tonight at 5:30, ESPN, Channel 30, you'll see the 2-12 Atlanta Falcons at the 4-10 Detroit Lions. I'm assuming that, this game, like I say, there's not going to be any Monday games, so they're going to have it on Saturday. After all, like I said, Monday is Christmas Eve. Now, tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Fox 5, you'll see the 6-8 New Orleans Saints at the 8-6 Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be on Fox 5. Now, I do have an announcement just right here as long as we're telling about the Dallas Cowboys. Now, last week, my wife Angel was on, and she was talking about a project that they're doing it's the Republican Women of Las Vegas. They had their Christmas party Wednesday. It was absolutely fantastic, and they've decided to move forward and do some more things with the Wounded Warrior Project. Now, I'm going to have a list for you of businesses that will take donations from you, but one of them, and the reason why I'm speaking about this here, Mr. D's at Oakey and Rainbow. Now, they're a Dallas Cowboy bar, have been for a long time. If you want to stop in and make a donation, they've got a can there. You can put some money in. You might even want to stop by and see the football game. But Mr. D's is helping out. We're going to have some announcements about Mr. D's later on, talking about some of the things that they're going to be doing. Now on CBS 8, also at 10 o'clock, you're going to have the 8-6 Cincinnati Bengals at the 7-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. Should be a great game. This is going to be in the division, so we have to take a look at it. Now, at 1:25 on Fox 5, which makes me believe, I know the local nitwits at Fox 5. Now, they've got a game at 10 o'clock. They got a game at 1:25. Means they're not going to show both games. They'll have something important like a juicer or a colon cleanse program, I'm sure, instead. Anyway, you may or may not see at 1:25 the 8-6 New York Giants at the 9-5 Baltimore Ravens. So either they're going to blow off the New Orleans Saints games or New Orleans Saints against the Dallas Cowboys, which means go to Mr. D's, see the game, or, you know what, they'll blow off the Giants-Ravens games. Either way, I don't think Fox News is going to put the whole thing on. They'll have other more important things to do. Then Sunday night at 5:20 on NBC3, you're going to be between taking polls and what have you. You're going to see the 10-3-1 San Francisco 49ers at the 9-5 Seattle Seahawks. This has got to be a great game. This is going to be a definitely great game to watch. By the way, I want to make mention, good morning, Merry Christmas. Now, yesterday, the Mayan calendar ended. God's world still continues. So, Merry Christmas. Now, I do want to mention Second Amendment's gun shop. But I'll tell you what, everybody is selling guns like crazy. You want to stop out and see Second Amendment Gun Shop. Now, they're located at 4570 North Rancho. They've got holsters, all types of things that you might need for stacking stuffers for those people that are shooters on your list. You want to stop out and see the good folks out at Second Amendment. Now, we got a contest. Great contest today. The questions I'm asking today are going to relate to the show that I'm doing next week. And as always, you'll be playing for the $25 gift certificate from Off the Strip. And also, don't forget Rick at Desert Outfitters. He's going to be giving up the gold pan today and cool radiator. They're going to have the knife they'll be giving out. But, you know, if you're going in and doing anything on local mining, you want to go out in the desert, stop in and see Rick out at Desert Outfitters at 3340 West Sirius. So like I said, we're going to have a lot to talk about today. Going to love to hear from you. We got a contest. Give us a call at 257-5396. That's 257-5396. Now it's time for the Silver Gold Live Market Commodities Report at the close of business Friday, December 21st, 2012. The gold closed for $1,660.80 an ounce. Gold, this makes them go down $38.10 since last week. They've gone down $95.30 an ounce in the past 4 weeks. Silver had a huge decrease for silver. Silver closed at $30.38 an ounce, making for a $2.30 decrease in 1 week. That is huge. A total of $3.96 in the past 3 weeks. Now, this week's live silver gold market report was brought to us by Round Mountain Gold.
What can a gold mine do for a county's economy? Round Mountain Gold, a joint venture with Kinross Gold Corporation located in northern Nye County, has been helping the people of Nye County and the state of Nevada for years. Today, Round Mountain Gold employs close to 800 people and is the largest private taxpayer in Nye County. Round Mountain is dedicated to preserving the mining tradition and creating jobs in mining for generations to come. If you're interested in pursuing a career in mining, call 775-377-3137. That's 775-377-3137. Interested in seeing modern gold mining at work? Then call 775-377-3169 for a tour. Or go to nevadamining.org to learn more about what mining does for Nevada.
I'll be home for Christmas.
Well, welcome back to the show. And you know what? It's contest time. Now, we got two questions. A reminder, once again, if you've already won in December, can't call. Got to wait till January, all right? So now here, for the $25 gift certificate from Off the Strip, you want to answer this question. How many people, and both of these questions relate to what we're going to be talking about next week. I want to know how many people have been murdered by guns in Chicago so far this year. That's for the $25 gift certificate. Then, following that right up, you can pick up either the pocket knife or the black gold pan from Desert Outfitters. I want to know, and just answer one of these. What two cities have the strictest gun laws in America? Give us a call at 257-5396. That's area code 702-257-5396. We'll be back with your calls right after the break.
Have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree.
nestled on the Nevada-California border in the Sandy Valley sits Two Hawk Ranch. Surrounded by thick, lush fields of locally grown alfalfa, Two Hawk Ranch has bulk and cubes available. If you have not tried alfalfa cubes, let the good folks at Two Hawk Ranch explain to you the value of feeding your horses cubes, and you decide which of these great products you wish to feed your animal. Horse and livestock owners with a great supply of locally grown alfalfa, where you can buy direct from the owner. Why would you buy from anyone else? Call Jared or Kale at 702-723-5375. That number again, 702-723-5375. Or drive out the Sandy Valley and follow the signs. You'll be able to see the green fields of Two Hawk Ranch long before you get there. Two Hawk Ranch. They'll always treat you right.
I like baseball. I love milk. My milk's low in calories and high in vitamins and minerals. My milk comes from cows in beautiful Nevada. Cows and milk are the power behind the play.
Icy cold local milk from your local dairyman gives you that power. Low-fat and fat-free milk are naturally nutrient-rich.
Baseball and milk keep me healthy and fit.
Quality, icy cold, local milk from your local dairyman.
The power behind the play.
The phone lines are open. Call Peter now at 702-257-5396.
Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see?
Well, welcome back to the show tonight. We got a contest going on. I want to know, for the $25 gift certificate from Off the Strip, how many people were murdered by guns in the city of Chicago so far this year? And for the knife or from Cool Radiator or from the Black Gold Pan from Desert Outfitters, what two cities have the strictest gun laws in America? Like I say, this is a prelude to what we're going to be doing next week. So give us a call at 702-257-5396.
You still using that beat-up old piece of firewood?
The Green Hornets caught more fish than you've lied about, Gustafson.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now it's time for the fishing report. Out at Lake Mead, anglers are having moderate success trolling for topwater plugs off the points. Now, most productive areas have been in the Overton Arm, water outside Colville Bay, and Government Wash. Most of the stripers are on the small side. Now, they say that weather should be clearing up this weekend and offering a great opportunity to get out and try your luck. Now, down in Lake Mojave, Willow Beach is still bringing in huge striper bass. They're taking striper bass between 15 and 25 pounds, near mile marker 50. Now, the trout imitation lures is always like the AC plugs. They are working best. Catfish are still hitting, but the trout action is good. Following the weekly plants at Willow Beach from the National Fish Hatchery. Now, it's like chumming for striper. They put the trout out, the large striper come in. Now, anglers working the water near Cottonwood Cove have been working water habitat structures that have been constructed by the installation at Carp Cove. You also have Box Cove. Now, Shoshone and Arrowhead, these structures are attracting large and smallmouth bass, bluegills, and even some catfish. Now, out at the urban ponds, with the storms hitting this past week, they saw a reduced number of anglers come out and do some fishing, but they are taking trout on power bait worms, be very effective. Now, they did put some trout out this past week at Floyd Lamb, Sunset Park, and Veterans Memorial. And we have a caller. Caller, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
We want to say Illinois and New York for the gun laws.
Okay. The city in Illinois, you're right there. I'm going to give this one to you. What's the city in Illinois?
Cook County, Chicago, I'd probably say.
Yeah, it's Cook County, Chicago, absolutely. Chicago and New York have the strictest gun laws. Now, you've got your choice. You can pick up the pocket knife from Cool Radiator, or you can get the gold pan from Desert Outfitters.
I take the pocket knife from Cool Radiator. That sounds fantastic.
You know where Cool Radiator's located?
I could probably find them.
Oh, well, I'll even tell you. Now, they're at 3228 Meade Avenue. Now, Meade is in between DI and Sahara, and it's just east of Valley View. Go in and see Daryl, and he's got a great selection of pocket knives. Great for stacking stuffers, or if you need one, you'll enjoy it, okay?
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Okay, now I'm still looking for the $25 gift certificate. How many people have been murdered so far in Illinois? Not Illinois, Chicago. Chicago, Illinois. And this was a figure that was given as of the 4th of December. Now, when you're going to be heading out, if you're going to be going up into Nye County, Cold Springs, Hay Meadow, now they're surrounded with ice by the boat ramps. Adams McGill is fishable at the south end of the dam. Now, the launch ramps at both Adams McGill and Dacey remain ice-free. Anglers at Dacey are encountering a significant amount of floating vegetation near the dikes and off the boat ramps. Now, weather forecast calls for snow, and in the low, they're saying as low as 5 degrees. So you're going to get an ice up on the lake. Stay off the ice. It's still a little bit too early. Now, if you're going to be heading up to Lincoln County, Eagle Valley Reservoir, the winter storms have brought temperatures cold enough to freeze the upper end of the lake. There is ice along the dam as well, but the areas around the fishing dock remain open. A few anglers who have braved the cold are having very good success for both rainbow and tiger trout. Echo Canyon Reservoir, the upper end of the lake is frozen, but the lower end remains open. Anglers are having good action for the fish. If you're willing to go out in the cold, it's going to work out fine. Now, those of you who've done some ice fishing, you know when the water's cold, those fish, I don't know what it is, but they do taste better. Now, this fishing report was brought to you by Cool Radiator.
It's a great time of the year to check out your car or truck and make sure it's running to get the best gas mileage or to make sure it's ready for that long road trip. The question is, who can you trust to do the job right? Well, how about taking it to the guy we've been talking about for the last 14 years? That's Daryl at Cool Radiator. Cool Radiator at 3228 West Meade Avenue can take care of all your automotive needs, from that tune-up to oil changes to that radiator job that you've been putting off. Well, now's the time to call Daryl at Cool Radiator at 362-1964. That number again is 362-1964. Or just stop by and see Daryl at 3228 West Meade Avenue. And as always, hunting and fishing talk is welcomed. Campers, stop by and see all of Daryl's enamel and cast iron cookware. That's Daryl at Cool Radiator at 3228 West Meade Avenue.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
Well, welcome back to the show. Now, we've got that question. I want to know this for the $25 gift certificate from Off the Strip. How many people have been murdered so far in Chicago this year by guns? These questions that I'm asking are going to relate directly to the show that we're going to be doing next week. I haven't said a whole lot about what happened in Connecticut, but we're getting into some strange territory. Once again, this morning, we had a young man that was arrested at a high school in the northwest part of the valley. Now, he's a former student. He was going in to see somebody else, and this was at the Northwest Career and Technical Academy. He was arrested Friday morning after school police found an unloaded semi-automatic rifle in his car. Now, it was in the trunk of his car. He was 18 years old. And, you know, the story goes on to say the gun wasn't registered. Well, you know what? You don't have to register rifles and shotguns in Nevada. It was a legal gun. It was unloaded. He had gone camping. He had the gun in there. It's going to get kind of crazy out here, and it's ridiculous. So once again, we're going to be going into a news break, but I want to know, give me a call after the news break, 257-5396. I want to know how many people have been killed by guns so far this year. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is, well, the fellow already answered the second question. You've got a huge amount of people that have died from gun violence. Yet Chicago, New York have the strictest gun laws. Now, we don't hear about it on the news. They don't make a big deal out of it. It happens mostly in poor black areas of Chicago. But you got to wonder, the president cried for the people in Connecticut. And I'm not downplaying Connecticut. It was a terrible, terrible tragedy. But a lot more people are killed every month in Chicago from gun violence than they were in Connecticut. Yet we don't hear about that. That's not a big news grab item. That's not something that is going to get you a lot of press. So the president doesn't cry for his own town. We'll be back right after this news break.
Said the night wind to the
Eagles fans, looking for a great place for gaming as well as watching all the games? A place where you have daily football parlay cards and gamblers bonus? Then stop by Off the Strip on Tropicana just west of Grand Canyon. Off the Strip has all kinds of football specials including $2.50 domestic draft beer, 10 food items for under $10, and special game fare. So if you're looking for a place that is a step above the rest, then stop by Off the Strip at 9837 West Tropicana. Then you and the Eagles will both have a great season.
I like basketball. I love milk. My milk's low in calories and high in vitamins and minerals. My milk comes from cows in beautiful Nevada. Cows and milk are the power behind the play.
Icy cold local milk from your local dairyman gives you that power. Low-fat and fat-free milk are naturally nutrient-rich.
Basketball and milk keep me healthy and fit.
Quality, icy cold local milk from your local dairyman.
The power behind the play.
There's nothing like going hunting, whether it's a big game hunt of a lifetime or just a local bird hunt with close friends. Hunts never last as long as you want them to, and when the hunt is over, the only thing that's left is the memory of that hunt. So to preserve those memories, you mount your game, and every time you look at that mount, it takes you back to that hunt, and you remember every detail of it. That's why, with all the time and effort that you put into your hunt, and getting that trophy, you deserve the best taxidermy possible. Here in Southern Nevada, that means Scott at Great Basin Taxidermy. Scott can do head and shoulder mounts, rugs, full-body mounts, mounts in natural habitat. He also does birds, fish, and small game mounts. So when you need a taxidermist, call Scott at Great Basin Taxidermy. That's 368-1848. That number again is 368-1848. That's Great Basin Taxidermy at 3894 West Spring Mountain Road. Great Basin Taxidermy, creating hunting memories in Southern Nevada since 1988.
Scoring touchdowns can leave you thirsty, but most drinks out there are high in calories and low in vitamins and minerals and lack a very important thing. The power behind the play. Milk from your local dairyman gives you that power. Low-fat and fat-free milk are naturally nutrient-rich, keeping you healthy and fit. So after the big touchdown, ask for quality, icy-cold local milk from your local dairyman. It's the power behind the play. Visit dairycouncilutnv.org.
The phone lines are open. Call Peter now at 702-257-5396.
Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? In the lane, snow's glistening.
Well, welcome back to the show. You're listening to Rural Nevada Today, brought to you by the Dairy Farmers of Southern Nevada, and I'm your host, Peter Lycopoulos. Now, we're going to give this out one more time. The questions that we're asking today on the trivia are going to relate to what we're going to be talking about next week. I want to know, how many people do you think have died in Chicago so far this year? This is from gun violence, and this is in a city that has the strictest gun laws in the country. Give me a call at 702-257-5396. That's 702-257-5396. Now, we got a story. It's a story that, you wonder why you put these stories in. These are great stories. These are things that, we should be taking a look at. This comes out of the Wisconsin Rapids paper. They got a story about a hunter, Dakota Marion. He's 12 years old, and this season he went out. He got a 6-point buck, and he got a doe on a youth hunt, on a deer hunt. So you say, okay, why are you talking about kids? Well, it's an important thing. You read those papers back in the Midwest and in some of the other rural areas, and they talk about the kids. Nothing violent. They go out, they hunt. They celebrate this. They just had a big banquet up in northern Wisconsin for the youth hunt that they put out. But the thing about Dakota, he has no use of his hands. And they went out. They used a mechanical device to sight this in. He was brought in with guides, took out and went and did a hunt with them. He took these two animals, he can't even pull the trigger. He had to take, and they set up a suction, just like we're sucking through a straw, to discharge the weapon. He went on, he talked about it. Now, think about everything up in that area about how much people hunt. This was a great thing to have this person in. You got to turn around and you got to celebrate your youth. And I think that's something that we miss here. There's no celebration of what our youth do and what our youth accomplish. And we got a caller. Caller, line 1, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today, sir?
Good, thank you. I was
listening to someone talk about it the other day, and the number of deaths in Chicago is pretty astonishing.
Yeah, it is.
Since they do have such good gun laws. If memory serves me right, is it around 600?
It's over 500. So I'm going to count you as the winner. You are over 500 people have been murdered in Chicago so far this year. That's 1.5 people a day. It's 45 people a month. Okay? And that's over 2,500 people were wounded. And they've got the strictest gun laws in the country. Now, President Obama, he did a great job of coming on and weeping, and he was crying for the school in Connecticut. And I'm not trying to downplay it. It was a terrible tragedy. But he's from Chicago. He doesn't mention anything, and none of the pundits are talking about how strict the gun laws are in Chicago, and you still have over 3,000 people a month getting shot, or for the year getting shot. It's like a war zone. All right, you get the $25 gift certificate, and if you would, hold on, please, and Jim will take your name and phone number, and you have a great Christmas, okay?
You too. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Okay, so, like I said, you think about this young man in Wisconsin, and we celebrate what he did. And the only time we hear about kids in the big cities, in Vegas, Chicago, New York, L.A., is when they've done something wrong. And by and large, kids are doing things right. You do have some people that do something wrong. They should be punished. They should be corrected. But we don't celebrate life. We don't celebrate what kids do. And you should celebrate this. This is something that we need to go and we need to do. Now, here's something. Talk about NBC puts out this poll, and it just cracks me up. The left never, ever quits questioning that there's a God, quits questioning that he's important or anything else. This, to me, is unbelievable. And this NBC poll came out. Do you believe that the word God should stay in American culture? That's a ridiculous statement to begin with. Do you believe the word God? It isn't a word. He's a supreme being. Now, the NBC poll was conducted, I guess, about a week ago. This comes from Red and Sally. They sent this to me on the 19th, and it said the morning of the 19th, they had conducted the poll. Now, here's what happened in the poll of, do you believe the word God should stay in American culture? They had the highest number of responses that they've ever had in any of these stupid polls that they conduct. Ever. But here's the amazing thing. 86% of the people said, keep the word in God we trust, God in the Pledge of Allegiance. 86%. It was their biggest response of any poll, and 80% of the people said, yeah, sure. 14% was against it, but I'll tell you what, 86 to 14, when was the last time a politician won an election by 86% of the vote? So Americans, you're not alone. And this is why I say, this is Christmas. And if you can't talk about God this time of year, if you can't show your Christianity, if you can't during Hanukkah show that you're Jewish and you show your beliefs, when can you? Don't be intimidated by what the freaks in Hollywood and the vampires that run the newspaper, and they are in press, they are vampires. Americans believe in God. I have a hard time understanding why this is such a mess, and why does the press continue to question God? We should have in God we trust on our money. It should be in Pledge of Allegiance. But no, what they want to do is they want to make you look like a freak. They want you to be the one who's the weird person. You're not the weird person. You're not the strange person. 85% of the people said keep the word God in. Why are they catering to the 14%? It's in God we trust. Now, this is the day of the Lord, and we should all be glad and rejoice in it. Think about that. 86%. So you're not the one who's off in outer space there. You're the one that's in the majority. Now, they want to demonize you. They want to demonize success. They want to demonize anything positive. we're the ones in the majority. Now, don't forget, our good friends out at Second Amendment at 4570 North Rancho. If you're looking to pick up some ammo, if you're looking to pick up a stocking stuffer, you want to go out to Second Amendment, 4570 North Rancho. Great new gun shop in town, and go on out and check them out. They got some great things for you. I'm going to take a break a little bit early because I do want to get all of this story in from Pravda. We'll be back right after this break.
Jumping on a trampoline can leave you thirsty, but most drinks out there are high in calories and low in vitamins and minerals and lack a very important thing. The power behind the play. Milk from your local dairyman gives you that power. Low-fat and fat-free milk are naturally nutrient-rich, keeping you healthy and fit. So after all that jumping, ask for quality, icy-cold local milk from your local dairyman. It's the power behind the play. Visit dairycouncilutnv.org.
What can a gold mine do for a county's economy? Round Mountain Gold, a joint venture with Kinross Gold Corporation located in northern Nye County, has been helping the people of Nye County and the state of Nevada for years. Today, Round Mountain Gold employs close to 800 people and is the largest private taxpayer in Nye County. Round Mountain is dedicated to preserving the mining tradition and creating jobs in mining for generations to come. If you are interested in pursuing a career in mining, call 775-377-3137. That's 775-377-3137. Interested in seeing modern gold mining at work? Then call 775-377-3169 for a tour. Or go to nevadamining.org to learn more about what mining does for Nevada. Nestled on the Nevada-California border in the Sandy Valley sits Two Hawk Ranch. Surrounded by thick, lush fields of locally grown alfalfa, Two Hawk Ranch has bulk and cubes available. If you have not tried alfalfa cubes, let the good folks at Two Hawk Ranch explain to you the value of feeding your horses cubes, and you decide which of these great products you wish to feed your animal. Horse and livestock owners with a great supply of locally grown alfalfa, where you can buy direct from the owner. Why would you buy from anyone else? Call Jared or Kale at 702-723-5375. That number again, 702-723-5375. Or drive out the Sandy Valley and follow the signs. You'll be able to see the green fields of Two Hawk Ranch long before you get there. Two Hawk Ranch. They'll always treat you right. If you want to advertise during this show, call Peter at 882-2865. That's 882-2865.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, it does.
Well, welcome back to the show. Now, we got a story. It's an old story. This story was written in Pravda on their English language online newspaper. It was written back April 27, 2009. April 27, 2009. It comes from Pravda, and it has more relevance, I think, today than it did the day it was written. It starts out, it must be said that, like breaking the giant dam, the American descent into Marxism happened with breathtaking speed against the backdrop of passive, hopeless sheep. Excuse me, dear reader, I meant people. True, the situation has been well prepared for on and off for the past century, especially the past 20 years. The initial testing grounds were conducted on our holy Russia. Bloody test it was, but we Russians would not just roll over and give up our freedoms and our souls, no matter how much money Wall Street poured into the fist of the Marxists. Those lessons were taken and used to properly prepare the American populace for a surrender of their freedom and their souls to the whims of the elites and the betters. First, the population was dumbed down through politicizing and substandard education. Substandard education. We talk all the time about the teachers and the teachers' unions on this show, but here it comes from Pravda. Politicized and substandard education systems based on pop culture rather than the classics. Americans know more about their favorite TV dramas than the drama in D.C. that direct the affairs of their lives. They care more for their right to choke down a McDonald's or a Burger King hamburger than they do their constitutional rights. Then they turn around and lecture us about our rights, about our democracy. Pride, blind, and foolish. Then their faith in God was destroyed until the churches, by tens of thousands of different branches and denominations, were for the most part little more than a Sunday circus, and their TV evangelists and top Protestant mega preachers were more than happy to sell their souls and the souls of their flock to be on the winning side of one pseudo-Marxist politician or another. Their flocks may complain, but then, when explained that they would be on the winning side, the flock ever so quickly rejected Christ in hopes of earthly power. Even our holy Orthodox churches are scandalized in liberalized America. The final collapse will come with the re-election of Barack Obama. Once again, this was written April 27th, 2009, and he was predicting that the final collapse will come with the re-election. 3 years ahead of the election, he was predicting that Barack Obama would be re-election. His speed in the past 3 months has been truly impressive. He's spending money and printing it at a record-setting pace, not just in America's short history, but in the history of the world. If this keeps up more than another year, and there's no sign that it will not, America will at best resemble the Weimar Republic, at worst Zimbabwe. These past 2 weeks have been the most breathtaking of all. First came the announcement of a planned redesign of the American Byzantine tax system by the very thieves who used it to bankroll their thefts, losses, and swindle hundreds of billions of dollars. These make our Russian oligarchs look little more than ordinary street thugs in comparison. Yes, the Americans have beat our own thieves by sheer volume. Should we congratulate them? These men, of course, are not elected. They're not part of it. They're appointees picked from the very financial oligarchs and their henchmen, and they are now gorging themselves on trillions of American dollars in one bailout or another. They are also absurding the rights, duties, and powers of the American Congress. Again, Congress put up a little more than a whimper to their masters. Then came Barack Obama's command that the GM, General Motors president, step down from the leadership of his company. That's correct, dear reader. In a land of pure free markets, the American president now has the power, the self-governing power to fire CEOs. Remember, these were not government-owned businesses. These were private businesses. And this happened. We assume that the employees of private companies at will come hither and thither to the centurion commands of his minions. So it should be of no surprise that the American president has followed up with a bold move declaring that he and other groups of unelected chosen stooges will now redesign the entire automotive industry and will even make guarantees of automobile policy. I'm sure that this will given the chance, they'll happily try and resign the whole world too. Prime Minister Putin, less than 2 months ago, warned Obama and Blair not to follow. Now, we got a Russian telling the head of the United States and the head of the United Kingdom, do not follow the path of Marxism. It will only lead to disaster. Apparently, even though we suffered 70 years of this Western-sponsored horror show, we know nothing as foolish, drunken Russians, so let our wise Anglo-Saxon fools continue to find out their folly of their own pride. Again, the American public was taken without a whimper, but a free man's whimper. So should it be any surprise to discover that the Democratic-controlled Congress in America, this was before the 2000 election, is working to pass new regulations that would give the American Treasury Department the power to set a fair maximum salary, evaluating performance, and control how private companies should play out? Senator Barney Frank, a social pervert basking in his own homosexuality, of course, amongst the modern enlightened American society norm, as well as in the West in general, the West, homosexuality has now become not looked down upon, but they look up to it as a life's choice. It's often praised as a virtue. And his Marxist Enlightenment has led the effort. He stresses that the only affects companies and receive government monies, but it's also retroactive and can take to a logical extreme. That would include any company or industry that ever received a tax break or an incentive. Russian owners of American companies and industries should look thoughtfully. Now, he's telling the Russians to look thoughtfully about closing down their facilities and fleeing the United States. This comes from, like I say, Pravda. It came 3 years ago. Now, where are we going with this country, and what are we doing, and how are we working our elected officials? When we talk about the people, when you call these people and try and talk to them about a subject, you're in a position. You're not the subject. All right, go ahead. We've got a call. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the 60s, the Chicago police used to come into apartments, 10 and 12 deep, shooting. The people are in...
You're going to have to lower your radio. We can't hear you, sir.
All right.
Go ahead. All right. We can't hear you, sir. We got to take you off the air. Now, next week, we're going to go over some of the things that are happening. But like I said, this past week and last week, I talked to our entire congressional delegation. With rare exception, they felt like I was an intrusion, like, why did I bother calling them? We're going to have to go to our final break, and we're going to wrap it up right after this.
Scoring touchdowns can leave you thirsty, but most drinks out there are high in calories and low in vitamins and minerals and lack a very important thing. The power behind the play. Milk from your local dairyman gives you that power. Low-fat and fat-free milk are naturally nutrient-rich, keeping you healthy and fit. So after the big touchdown, ask for quality, icy-cold local milk from your local dairyman. It's the power behind the play. Visit dairycouncilutnv.org.
It's a great time of the year to check out your car or truck and make sure it's running to get the best gas mileage or to make sure it's ready for that long road trip. The question is, who can you trust to do the job right? Well, how about taking it to the guy we've been talking about for the last 14 years? That's Daryl at Cool Radiator. Cool Radiator at 3228 West Meade Avenue can take care of all your automotive needs, from that tune-up to oil changes to that radiator job that you've been putting off. Well, now's the time to call Daryl at Cool Radiator at 362-1964. That number again is 362-1964. Or just stop by and see Daryl at 3228 West Meade Avenue. And as always, hunting and fishing talk is welcomed. Campers, stop by and see all of Daryl's enamel and cast iron cookware. That's Daryl at Cool Radiator at 3228 West Meade Avenue.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're going to have to wrap it up now. I want to thank everybody for listening this morning, and for those of you who called in. We're going to cover a show on gun laws next week. We're going to go into some of the different things. That's why we use the questions that we used today. They were meant to be provocative, to make you think. It's come down over the years, and it started in the 60s. And what's happened is gun laws have never improved anything. We've never been safer with gun laws. And I want to take a look at the things that we'll be talking about. Is take a look at the games you're buying your kids. Be careful with these games, the video games. We're going to talk about that next week. We're going to talk about how Hollywood has changed over the past 40 years. All of this has come to take us slow, bit by bit, chunk by chunk, away from our cultures, our moral values. That letter from Pravda, the article, it talks about how this has been designed. They've been working on this. The left has been working on this for 100 years. It's been coming at a breakneck speed over the past 20 years. And with the election of Barack Obama, it's reached its height. But conservatism isn't losing in this country. And I want to make mention of this, and I want you to think about it. Even though the presidential candidate lost in 2012. When our new officials take the oath of office on January 9th, or in January of 2009, you had 22 Republican governors. In January of 2013, 4 years later, we have 30 Republican governors. We have more state houses and state senates than we've had 4 years ago. I don't know why we weren't able to put it together on a national. Well, I do know the National Party just could not relate to what the states were doing, could not relate to the local programs, local people who could have helped them, and didn't want to take their advice. And we failed. At any rate, enjoy this season. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We'll talk again next week.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children